What's going on, everyone? The Arid Lord is back. Welcome back to another Walking Dead. Oh, excuse me, Fear the Walking Dead vlog. That's right, I'm returning to this god-awful show that I still stand by, that the previous season and even maybe the season before that had absolutely no direction, purpose, reason for existence, anything. Absolutely nothing. I swore off this series when it became clear through a few episodes of season 5 that there was just no point. They spent the first half of the season repairing a plane that they promptly crashed, dealing with radiation. And then the second half, you had two villains who were sprinkled intermittently. And then we had a shocking twist with a main character who I won't spoil, and that was about it. Oh, and by the way, that shocking twist didn't even conclude the character's fate. So it was another who did Negan kill cliffhanger that Mr. Gimple loves to do. Alright? Now, there's only one reason I'm making this vlog, because I stumbled across an interesting photo today while I was browsing through Twitter, and I'm going to present that to you right now. And yes, this is not a joke. This is not fabricated. This is not taken from the Spoiling Dead fans. What you are seeing is actually a photo of Dwight and Sherry holding hands. And this is in the future. This was not in season 6 of The Walking Dead. This was nothing from the past. This is 2019-2020 filming for season 6 of Fear the Walking Dead. Now, a few things came to mind. I was I think the first emotion, I was pretty shocked. I was like, so Christine Evangelist, if I'm saying that right, Evangelist, sorry. The actress, sorry I butchered that name. The actress who plays Sherry. She was in one episode of season 6 when Dwight's character was first introduced. And then she was in 2 episodes of season 7 when she kind of introduced the sanctuary. You see Negan with his wives. Sherry is one of them. She's there to further Dwight's character development. And then in episode 11, when he goes back to their home, there's a voiceover with Sherry in the background doing a voice, but like she physically is not in the episode. But ever since, there has been no conclusion to Sherry's story. She wasn't in any... The rest of Season 7, she was absent. She wasn't in Season 8. She wasn't in Season 9. And she hasn't so far been in Season 10. And then, when Dwight crossed over at the end of Season 8, everyone's like, okay, then maybe Sherry will be in the second half or some half of Fear the Walking Dead. Now, the problem, and I mentioned that the problem with the Sherry storyline is I just thought it was dragging on too long. Dwight was on a wild goose chase, and I just don't feel like Sherry ever, I don't know, it was almost like a game. Like, if you guys have ever read the book Paper Towns, where Quentin is going after Margot Roth Spiegelman, it's kind of like that, where there's all these, like, odd, inauspicious clues that are just kind of strewn about. And you don't really know how they connect, where they go, if the person even wants to be found. And so that's what I can compare it to with Sherry. And the fact that she's just, like, I can't tell if she wants to be found or not. Like, there was the paper where she's like, Dwight, don't come look for me. But then Dwight's like, oh, I received this signal. It must mean that she wants to, like, it's just like Scott Gimple or the showrunners or whoever. Pick a side. Is Sherry going to find Dwight, or is she not? Does she want Dwight to find her, or does she prefer to just be left alone? I can't... They dragged... Over the course of season 5, they really dragged out that storyline. Really. To the point where now there was also another cliffhanger involving it, where Dwight was in a situation where he was saved, and you're left to wonder if it was actually Sherry who saved him. But this photo... Now, here's the thing. A lot of people were pissed off at this photo because they were replying to the Twitter post like, why would you spoil this moment? That's another angle to this. For anyone who didn't want to know, why would you spoil this? Like, that's pretty big news that you got Christine to come back to the show to play Sherry. And now you're seemingly going to conclude this Dwight Sherry storyline that's been going on since 2015, all the way back to season 6 of The Walking Dead when Daryl bumped into Dwight, Sherry, and Sherry's sister in the woods when they were running from the Saviors. Like, this storyline has been going on for years. Years and years and years and years. I mean, in their time, it's been years. In our time, it's almost been the same amount of time. If we're going to say a 6-year time jump, I mean, it's been, 2015 to I mean, that's 5. I mean, that's close enough. It's almost been the same amount of time that we've been wondering about this. So, this also coincides with an article that came out today. A vlog that I'm probably going to upload after this, but I made it before. I also discuss Entertainment Weekly. They seem to be going on this. They're firing these off. They're interviewing Scott Gimple. They have like separate articles where they're interviewing him about the Rick Grimes movies, Fear the Walking Dead. I don't think they can ask him about The Walking Dead because Angela Kang is in charge of that, thank goodness. So, just browsing through this, some things. Entertainment Weekly says, there was some pretty critical takes out there about Season 5 of Fear the Walking Dead. When you look back at that season, what's your take? Is there anything you feel didn't work? Or was this just part of the plan as you stretch out the plan to go elsewhere? Right there, you just said it. We've been lucky enough on that show to be able to do these long-range plans. Season 5 is about setting up this journey that these characters are on through there to Season 6. And I think people are going to see the relationship between those two seasons. I think even getting to the very end of Season 5, the last few moments really informing that whole season about reaching for benevolence and reaching for sweetness and art and just life and how the circumstances they're in. It didn't work, and how we leave a person that put that forward isolated, alone, bleeding in a dead town. Okay, obviously he spoiled what happened to Morgan. If you guys don't know, Morgan was the character. We don't know if he dies or not. He gets shot by that stupid cowboy-esque girl, Virginia. And there's walkers coming towards him, but the scene promptly cuts before anything can happen to Morgan. So we don't know if someone saves him or if he somehow gets his way out of this situation. But, the thing with Scott Gimple is that he just assumes people are going to keep watching. He's like, oh, we made Season 5 as miserable and boring and pointless as possible so that we could set things up for Season 6. Like, this was always the problem with The Walking Dead, at least when Gimple started to get down the stretch. When you got to that Savior storyline, when you would have episodes that would drag on, and episodes that would drag on and drag on and drag on, I feel like that was his defense. He would say, oh, well, we didn't address this character or flesh out this story because we're setting up this arc, and we have plans for next season, and there's a plan for this season and a plan for that. He just, like, whenever someone has a contemporary complaint about a character or something going on in the present moment, he just looks to the future. Oh, well, we're setting things up. It's like, well, no, let's review what the product is on its own, because Season 5 of The Walking Dead, the original Walking Dead, is probably one of its strongest seasons ever, and the premiere is actually the most successful premiere of any Walking Dead premiere. Fear the Walking Dead, anything. Season 5 had like 17 million viewers upon release in the fall of 2014. And it had the cannibals. The hospital cop thing was a little weak, but then they transitioned to Virginia and Alexandria. It was a super, super strong season. It was a very strong season. And yes, it was setting things up for the future in Rick's role in Alexandria. The fact that the group just transitioned from Georgia to Alexandria, that's huge because that's where, the saviors are and other things that go on down the stretch. Setting things up, I get it. But the season wasn't boring. Like, you felt things were moving. Hell, we still thought Eugene had a cure for the apocalypse back in the beginning of Season 5. So keeping Eugene alive and getting out of that train car in Terminus meant a lot, because the fate of humanity could be on the line. I mean, we learned a few episodes later that he was lying, but still, like, there were many intriguing plot lines that kept you grounded in the moment. even though they were setting up for the future. Nobody said that, oh, season 5 is the last season of the show. No, we knew that there was Negan and other things on the horizon, but season 5 of the original show was still a solid 16 episodes. All right, again, there were some boring episodes. A lot of people didn't like the hospital stuff with those rogue cops. It seemed disjointed. You really could have made the Terminus cannibals the villain for the first half of the season, and you really could have got away with that instead of dealing with the cop crap. But, that's a minor complaint, all right? With Fear the Walking Dead, I felt like every episode, other than speculating about the helicopter group, which they teased, and they were like, ooh, like after the first episode of season 5 of Fear the Walking Dead, Althea gets shocked by that Isabel we know, the helicopter group CRM soldier, and then they have one episode with them together, and then the soldier just flies off, and they never address it. They made it seem like the whole radiation, the plane, the helicopter, go back to some of the prediction videos I did for Fear the Walking Dead Season 5. I was so hyped because I thought that there was going to be crossover with the helicopter group. Because keep in mind, this was only a few months after Rick exited the show on said helicopter. So I'm looking for clues. And this Fear the Walking Dead had false advertising where it's like, oh, well, if you want some clues, come watch Fear the Walking Dead Season 5 because it looks like there's going to be crossover. No. There was, after episode 5, it was back to feeding cats, repairing planes, and dodging radiation. That was the epitome of Fear the Walking Dead Season 5. And I didn't even watch the second half. If you guys know, I didn't do review vlogs or anything for it. I skimmed over it. I looked at the important clips. I saw, obviously, what happened to Morgan in the finale, but nothing beyond that. And I hate, Gimple's just the cockiness of Gimple is so frustrating. The fact that he's like, oh, we were planning long-range plans. It's like, dude, you realize that you need funding for all of this and that keeping fans happy now is what gets you those long-term plans? Does he understand how cause and effect... he's been in this industry for a while. I have to imagine he understands how this cause and effect works, but... far be it from me. I know, I don't work in the movie industry, television industry. I don't know what it takes to make a coherent storyline. Of course I don't. So here's some other things he says in this. He's like... I'm curious how people will watch that season in the future. Season 2 of The Walking Dead, when we did it, we assailed in a lot of ways. Why are they on the farm? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? I think in subsequent years, people watching that season had different takes. This season 5, as a piece setting up season 6 into a truly serialized entertainment, I think people might see the relationship and the journey and why the journey went the way it did. I was so happy with the way that everybody did. I think it really did come together in the end in this really tragic way that we couldn't have gotten to without the... So he's trying to say... Let me just take a sip here. He's trying to say that because season 2 of The Walking Dead was bad and slow and stayed in one position and nothing was moving, that this can get away with it. Now... the thing is, you can't make that comparison. That's the problem. You can't make that comparison because you should, A, learn from your mistakes. And B, season 2 of The Walking Dead changed showrunners. If you guys recall, Mr. Frank Darabont was the showrunner for all of season 1 and had these extravagant plans in season 2. Where he wanted to take the soldier that was in the tank from Atlanta and do some flashback and show how the characters interacted and all these little tricky, fun plans. And AMC said that they didn't have the money for that. He had all, what he wanted to do was beyond the money they had to fund it. They got into too many fights, they fired Frank, and then I think Glenn Mazzara was the showrunner. So he's trying to adapt these little pieces of the show, and I think they needed that low time. They needed, like, okay, make sure that we have no storyline that's of any substance for season 2, because we're still trying to figure out what we can do financially with the show. I feel like there were a lot of decisions with the show that they didn't know in season 2. So they needed that, like, meandering around the freaking farm, dealing with the Shane Laurie plotline. Like, they needed that to get themselves into in season 3. Look at the brisk pace of season 3 with the governor and all that stuff that happened. So they quickly resumed. I think that's a crap example. Gimple, again, trying to cover his ass. Like, oh, look, we did it in the past. It's like, hey, you weren't showrunner back then. Glenn Mazzara was. And second, I don't see what you're setting up for. Like, you should still have substance to your show and something that's building towards the future. Like, that's the thing. Like, repairing it was like fake drama. It was like, oh, are they gonna repair the plane? Are they gonna avoid the radiation? Of course they are. They have to survive because we have, as Gimple says, long-range plans. Like, I never bought for a second that they weren't gonna get out of those situations. Like, not for a freaking second. Was I tricked or fooled in any way? Okay. And then they go on. It's funny you mentioned season 2 of The Walking Dead, because I remember the complaints. But as soon as the barn door opened, everyone was like, oh, okay, yeah, ooh, that was worth it. It was cumulative. I think everyone's opinion, as long as their opinion is come to honestly, nobody's opinion is wrong. It's how they feel. All right, well, thanks, Gimple. I'm glad. As long as I'm honest. Well, I'm being very honest right now, so I guess you would say that my opinion's valid. And then they ask him about how much feedback he takes, and I don't care how much feedback he takes. How do you decide in terms of where to creatively go? It's actually the thing I like about when you guys were pulling in the most insane numbers, you were still doing crazy stuff you would never expect. You mentioned leading season 6. And then we get to Ian Goldberg and Andrew Chambliss, who are the frickin' showrunners that put together this mess. The main thing that came out of this interview that everyone was quoting is two things. That A, Sherry is in this new season, as the photo I showed you proves. And the second thing is that season 6 apparently is going to be 16 mini episodes. Yes, you heard that correctly. Season 6 of Fear the Walking Dead is mini episodes, contained bottle episodes that all deal with different characters. Some are flashbacks, some are flash forwards. Oh, and by the way, the whole season is a time jump from season 5. So guess what? We may never know what happened to Morgan because of this time jump. Or they might just reveal it in some shocking way that no one would expect. Yeah, I was already not going to watch Fear the Walking Dead and just, skim it, spark note it, as you would, with a book that you'd had to read for a high school assignment. But this is influencing me even more to just not engage with it. And I don't blame any of the actors, actresses. I mean, some of those, the actors are very talented, and I wouldn't take anything away from them. I met some of them at Walker Stalker Con 2019 last year in Atlanta. And they're all very nice, and they love what they do. And, good for Christine for coming back to the show. That's surprising to me. I thought she was done with The Walking Dead. I thought she wanted to move on to other projects, and because I feel like she told Gimple in season 6 or season 7 of the original show, she probably said, like, hey, I notice a lot of actors are in this for, like, long-term contracts that have been going on for years after year after year after year after year. I do other stuff. I can't really do that. So is there a way you can structure this so that I'm only in a few episodes? And hence, because Sherry is a much bigger part of the comics. She's a much, 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 much bigger part of the comics. They take a different route as a villain with her in the comics, but still, she had more of a role, but it's surprising. It's surprising that she's on the show. Good for her. It's stupid the way the Twitter page, they were like, oh, is it a dream or is it reality? It's like, why would you get the actress for a dream sequence? To me, it looks like both of them have aged. Like, they're wearing different clothing. Dwight looks like his future Fear the Walking Dead self. It looks like he finally found Sherry. There's nothing else for me to say. Like, that's really what it seems like. So yeah, leave your comments below. Are you going to watch Fear the Walking Dead Season 6? Are you surprised about this photo? Again, one of the major reasons I made this vlog is because it relates back to the original Walking Dead, because the Dwight Sherry plot was carried over to Fear the Walking Dead, but we were first introduced to that of Season 6 of the original show back when the Saviors were introduced. But, you know, the Saviors are long gone. Negan's doing stuff with the freaking Whispers now, and so we don't know what the conclusion is with Sherry and Dwight's storyline. It's removed from all of that, and it's more of a private affair. And so what will happen, if I watch anything from Season 6, if there is a resolution with Dwight's storyline with Sherry, I'd love to know what the hell it is. If they ride off into the sunset, whatever the heck, beer and pretzels on the beach, I don't know what the hell it's going to be. But if there's a bottle episode with just Dwight and Sherry, maybe I'll watch it. Maybe I'll do a review of it as it'll be like a throwback to the original Walking Dead. But maybe that's the episode I'll make the exception for. All right? Who knows? All right, guys. I got a couple of these vlogs to pump out to you. I'm trying to keep the content fresh. But with all these interviews coming out, Gimple is keeping me very busy. I have no shortage of content for you guys. So, thanks to Gimple seemingly taking all this time to talk to Entertainment Weekly, I thought he'd be busy plotting the course for The Walking Dead and its future. But we, we've been blessed with the presence of Gimple. And again, whenever he takes interviews, he's always super confusing and talks in circles. And yes, we are doing that. But we also might not be doing that. But there's a possibility that we also might not possibly be maybe doing that. Yes, the confusing, roundabout, circuitous nature of Mr. Scott M. Gimple. No longer showrunner of the original show. Thank God Angela King is in charge, because everything in Season 9 and 10 so far has felt fulfilling, even though they're setting up for the future, probably the Commonwealth, or whatever. The Whisper storyline has been 9 million times improved from the comics, and I love the shit that they're doing with it, and I'm super excited. So, no complaints on Kang's part, so just gonna throw that out there. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe, and keep tuning in for more great content. I will see you later. Thank you.